Hey, good afternoon, guys, and welcome to this edition of my Lunch and Learn workshops to get ready for great Lunch and Learn workshop. If you're catching me for the first time, my name is Richard Cuff. I'm president of CTI Marketing, founder of Nasimba Business Alliance, and Master Greatness Coach at GetReadyForGreatness.com. I really appreciate you joining me. I am coming to you a little bit late for this edition of the Lunch and Learn. If you followed me on um, my morning live broadcast on my Facebook page at Richard Cuff, you know that I do the unscripted morning commute, and that sort of sets the pace for what I will be talking about in the Lunch and Learn sessions. So for those of you who are are familiar with the community and you've gone through the process, thank you all so much for doing these things. For those of you who are just now joining, I want you to first go to getreadyforgreatness.com. There you are going to be able to create your free coaching profile, and that way you can first get connected to everything that we're doing, and that the different business alliance members and the coaching clients and the coaches that are joining the network, and all of those things are coming together, and that is the beginning point, the place to start. There's no cost, but it will give you an opportunity to begin to have access to the information that we have to offer. And so I want you to go and make certain that you log on to getreadyforgreatness.com, create your free coaching profile. Secondly, remember richardcuff.com, because there is where you'll always be able to access any of the live broadcasts, and you'll actually be able to go and catch this one live, and then you'll see where you can watch the previous days. So for now, I've been on my 21 days to greatness coaching. We wrapped up last week, yesterday, the 7 days, and we talked about the progressive mindset theory, and introduce some things with emotions. Paul Ekman has a great study. He's done a lot of work in the area of emotions and facial expressions, and what he calls micro expressions. And I talked about those, and how they fit into these emotional processes that you go through whenever you're dealing with adversity. So it laid the foundation for what we're going to be talking about in week 2, starting today with day 8, and the 7 steps to overcoming adversity. So this is day 8, and we now move into the second component, 7 steps to overcoming adversity. And today we're going to focus on step number 1, and I'll share that with you a little bit later. But we're also combining my Lunch and Learn workshops, primarily because thanks to the coronavirus shutdown, we're not able to do the Lunch and Learn workshops as we had planned. My goal was to be touring the country by now in different cities, and hosting our Get Ready for Greatness Lunch and Learn workshops, which would be live, actual live, not like live Facebook live or YouTube live, but I mean live and in person, where you shake hands and you meet people. Well, with this new social distancing, or what I'd rather call physical distancing, um, all of that changed. So the thing that we were going to do that would be the norm for us, and that's going out into the community and connecting smaller communities together across one big platform. We had to shift, and now we're doing it. Everything is online. So when you go to getreadyforgreatness.com, create your free coaching profile, you will see that you can purchase my PS Factor 21 Days to Greatness coaching. And along with that coaching, you're going to get the book by Jay Forte, The Greatness Zone. And I'm going to show you where the Greatness Zone fits in this particular session. It's going to put all of it together, but you get the Greatness Zone And Jay is talking about know yourself, find your fit and then go out and transform the world. So there's a process to doing that, to knowing yourself, finding your fit and transforming the world. The Greatness Zone coaching and my Get Ready for Greatness training all work together to help you uh, be able to do that. But you can begin the process for as little as $49. And yes, to some it may be expensive, to some it's well worth it when you're paying for coaching and paying for knowledge. But what I find is that the people that I most want to reach have never been coached, have never started a business, probably would never think about starting a business, but inside they have this ability that just hasn't come out yet. And I'm going to show you how adversity and the challenges that you face, oftentimes when things look like they're falling apart, they're actually falling into place. And the thing that looks like it came to hurt you actually came to just motivate you and move you out of your comfort zone and through these other zones that we're going to be talking about today. So, without any further delay, let me share my screen with you guys, and then we're going to go ahead and get started on with this week's um, coaching and training as we talk about the understanding the basics of business ownership and the in this lunch and learn workshop. So I want to start where every session I well, first of all, let me show you the three companies. CTI Marketing is pretty much and has been pretty much my day job for the last 25 years. But back in 2000, early, yeah, 2000, I started the December Business Alliance as a North American Small and Emerging Market Business Association. It was a second corporation that I started, but I found it was just difficult to start managing all these different corporations. So I created one company, Consentel LLC, and it is the umbrella for these three companies. Each one focuses on their own lane, if you will. CTI Marketing, obviously, is a marketing company. Consentel is the customer service and technology and all the technology and especially marketplace technology that makes it possible for us to do everything that we're doing in building out this network. And then the Simba Business Alliance, not only is it an alliance of members who are committed to the vision that I've laid out, they are also committed to operating their business with a spirit of excellence. So in essence, Nasimba Business Alliance is the symbol of entrepreneurial excellence. Uh, we encourage our members to do business with each other at fair market value. And we also serve as an advocate for our members to make certain that resources actually get to, especially resources that are coming down from the federal government so that they don't get clogged up in the bureaucracy. We have a network of professionals that are able to make certain that we can work with the entrepreneurs right where they are. And as you can see, I'm here in my podcast studio and providing um, the, the information that you need. And I just realized that I wanted to also share this live on my Facebook page. So I'll start doing that tomorrow, and we'll actually have the technology in place that you guys will be able to see this on all the platforms. So you can follow me on Facebook at Richard Cuff and Twitter at Richard Cuff, also Instagram at Richard Cuff, and I mean not Instagram. What is it? The LinkedIn at Richard Cuff. So those three, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, are all at Richard Cuff. Instagram is at Cuff the Comedian, and YouTube, you can find me on my Get Ready for Greatness channel. So all of those will direct you back to the same community that we are building here. That is called the Cultural Capital Marketplace. We'll be talking about that a little bit more. But I've always want to begin with this quote from Marianne Williamson, which she says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. So, and there is another line that I cut off, but it mentions about how as we are liberated from our own fear, we liberate others. So let me do something here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. But what I want you guys to do is just to become conscious that we are in a position where we can now make a tremendous difference in the world, especially as we start and as we begin to work toward making things happen exactly the way they're supposed to happen. You know, it is, it seems unlikely and it may even seem difficult that when you're going through things that, you know, what I'm going through right now could actually help someone, could benefit someone. But the reality of it is that's exactly what happens. What you're going through in life will actually serve to be a blessing to someone else. But you have to be able to look at it that way. And oftentimes what ends up happening is we get into a position where we start to doubt ourselves, or we start to um, we get to the point to where it seems as if what we're doing um, doesn't make sense, right? So you'll start canceling. You literally start canceling out what you're doing in order to um, fit in. Um, whatever reason you want to you go through the things that you're going through, but what should be happening in our lives is that we should live without any doubt whatsoever that why we're the reason why we were placed here is for the benefit or to be a blessing to others. And so the goal here for us and for me, I'm gonna, guys, as I'm working around here, I'm gonna get my screen back on here if I can get my computer now to start behaving. But the goal here is for you to recognize that there's greatness within you and that you have something to bring to the table, something to offer this world. And as you offer that something to this world, you are in a position to be successful. And then your success becomes a blessing to someone else. And so that's really what this is all about. You being successful and then you being a blessing to someone else so that that someone else can become successful as well. So that's what this training is about. I'm hoping to be able to bring information to you that you're going to see that it will make a difference in your life. And then you can go out and make a difference in the lives of others. So what I want to do is let's let me go back here and let me go back to sharing my screen, if you will. Hold on one sec. And okay, so let's continue. She said, we were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us; it's in every one. It's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. So, and ultimately, as we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And that word liberated is, to me, what being liberal is all about. You're set free from your fears, set free from your worries, set free from the constraints of, oh my God, what are they going to do to me if this happens and that happens? Conservative is the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's based in fear. I want to conserve. I want to make certain that we've got something for tomorrow. If this continues the way it's going to go, oh my God, what's going to happen? But in politics, conservative and liberal don't mean those things anymore. Those are just labels that are convenient for those who are in power to keep those who are outside of that power realm to be confused and not understand what's really going on. So hopefully, I can share information in these lunch and learn workshops that's going to trigger something in your mind and wake up the giant that's in you. So I want to also emphasize, and I'll continue to emphasize this in each one of the sessions when we talk about price and value. Price is always determined by the seller. Value is always determined by the customer. There can be no transaction until price and value come to equal terms. That, my friend, is what a marketplace is all about. You need those two things. You need a seller who names the price, and you need a buyer or a customer who's willing to pay the price. You don't have those two things, you do not have a marketplace. Our marketplace currently is collapsing because suddenly consumers are being removed from the marketplace. Coronavirus is telling everybody to stay home. Now, there'd be no problem if we could go home and keep spending the money the way that we were spending when we were out. But a lot of our economy is moving because people have to go out into the marketplace and move money around. Labor, the labor market, you have to trade your leisure time for a weekly salary, and then a business owner puts that time to use by giving you a job and some work to do, and money starts moving around the economy. When that money stops moving, then we have an issue. So, but Napoleon Hill says it best: knowledge has no value except that which can be gained through its application toward some worthy end. And I need to add Seth Godin's quote here, but I'll say it to you. I don't have a slide, but Seth Godin says it best. If we could just fall in love with serving people, creating value, solving problems, building valuable connections, and doing work that matters, it makes it far more likely that we're going to do important work. So let's do some important work, guys. Focus on making yourself the best self that you can be and get the information that you need. While we're on this coronavirus lockdown, now is the perfect time for you to start working on you so that once this thing is over, the best you possible can be offered as a service to this community, a service to the world. You're going to offer what you have to the world. So you're going to, as Jay says in his book, you're going to know yourself, find your fit, and transform the world. Know yourself, find your fit, transform the world. That's the greatness zone. So let's talk about that as we move forward here. Before we get into the greatness zone, we talk about those micro expressions that Paul Eichmann presented. And so they're in essence 7 micro expressions of the, I can't remember the group, but they wrote, "It's written all over your face. You don't have to say a word." Yeah, that it's written all over your face, right? So those micro expressions show these emotions: contempt or contentment, amusement, excitement, embarrassment, relief, guilt, pride in achievement, shame, satisfaction. Those are familiar emotions. Those are things that you feel. One of the best definitions that I've ever heard of what an emotion is that it's an extremely fast subconscious evaluation of the situation. That your mind evaluates the situation so fast that on the surface one of these emotions shows up, and they all are connected back to that sensory, what you feel. As I said yesterday, it's not a me pinching my hand is not a feeling. This is a sensation. I can sense through my senses that something is pinching my hand. So what we call feelings are really not feelings. They are sensations, and then that really good feeling is just a really good sensation. It's a sensory pleasure. So, what are these micro expressions, and how do they show up? Well, the first micro expression is that of surprise. You can see it in a person's face. The eyebrows are raised or curled. The skin below the eyebrow is stretched. The horizontal wrinkles show across the forehead. Eyelids are open. White of the eyes are showing. The jaw drops. The teeth are parted. Those are all those expressions show, you look surprised. And a lot of times you are picking up on these signals without knowing it. So subconsciously, that person has these expressions on their face, and subconsciously, you're picking up on those expressions. Then after fear, I mean, after surprise, there's fear. The eyebrows are raised again, drawn together, wrinkles on the forehead, the upper eyelid is raised, but the lower lid is tense and drawn up. Eyes have the upper white showing, but not the lower white. Yeah, fear. The mouth is open, lips slightly tensed and stretched, drawn back. People are reading your expressions all the time, but there's that fear expression. Then we've got disgust. It has these things: your upper lip raised, the teeth may be exposed, nose wrinkled, cheeks raised, all of those. But just know that so far we've got surprise, we've got fear, we've got disgust. Now we've got anger. That anger micro expression has these characteristics. Eyebrows are lowered, the lower lip tense. I'll just go through them real quick here. The lips can be pressed firmly together. But if you study these, and once you begin to understand what Ekman is pointing out, you'll be able to start reading people's emotions. Now, there are a lot of people that read these emotional micro expressions and they use them against you. Salesmen are really good at it. They're called sales cues. So the salesman is reading you, and he's slowly making a determination, that eyebrow raise, the lips being tightened, that slight smile, or you starting to ask questions. All of those are things that says it's time for him to go for the kill and ask the closing question, because you're now ready to buy. It happens the same thing in relationships. You know, you are on a date and you guys are vibing with each other, and you know that this is the moment that says it's okay for me to go in for the kiss. And we kissed and it was electric. Yeah, all of those were signals that were being sent out with these micro expressions the entire time. So all three facial areas must be engaged to not have any ambiguity. So those expressions that show up, you know, you could misread somebody because some of them are missing, but when they all are there, that's what they're feeling. The next one is a happiness. So you got the corners of the lips are drawn back, the mouth. I think everybody can tell. You can pretty much tell when somebody is happy, right? That's an easy expression to look at. The expression, um, the expressions. Well, there are pictures on here. I removed the pictures, but there's fake happiness. But you can tell that there's real happiness, right? You can tell real happiness. Then there's sadness. Um, and the way that I look at these emotions, surprise is sort of the emotional expression that opens the box. So the box is opened by surprise, but it's also opened by disgust. So it can be that disgust emotion can open the box, and then within that you're going to find anger and fear. Those are the basic ones. And then you're going to find joy and sadness. So those, anger, fear, joy, sadness, those kind of are the twins that work together inside the happy box or inside the disgust box. And then the next and the seventh micro expression is contempt. Now, this is that hate expression, and that's the one. I'll just go back a little bit. That's the one that it crosses out of the emotional box, and actually it gets into this irrational thinking, because this one, that the contempt and that hate, it has no rhyme or reason. After a while, you hate somebody because of the color of their skin, or you hate somebody because of their lifestyle. You hate somebody because of their position in society. You hate, you hate, you hate. Now it's one thing to read their expressions, and another thing, and quite another thing to for them to give you reasons to feel the way that you feel. But to have contempt or hatred for someone for no other reason than you don't like the way that they look, that shows up, and it shows up more than a micro expression. It shows up in the words that you use. It shows up in the expressions that are on your face, the the flag that you wave, the salute that you make, all those things. It stops contempt and hate stops being micro expressions. Those things like come right straight out at you. But I just wanted to share those with you because those are things that you're going to find that as you start building your business, you're going to go through the process, and you're going to be going through these emotional states, especially those six. I'll say hate and contempt is so strong and so out of the box that it sort of pushes those other six emotions aside and it takes you to another level. So I just focus on those six, and I'm going to show you how those emotions and those micro expressions move you along the process to get to the greatness zone. So if we start off with the first zone where all is well and everything is hunky dory, right? You're in your comfort zone. I mean, man, for the last 10 years as an economy, we've been in our comfort zone. We've just been assuming that every year, every month, the stock market is going to go up, heck, every day. And every month, the unemployment rate is going to go down. And we just had a strong economy. We just knew everything was going to be great. And then along came coronavirus and took all of us out of our comfort zone. And the next natural zone to step into is that fear zone. Now, what happens is usually it's surprise that takes you out of your comfort zone, whatever that surprise may be. And the very next thing you feel right after surprise is fear. But then another part of you kicks in, that limbic system within your brain that kicks in, that what some call it the alligator brain, or the most primitive part of your brain that pretty much hasn't evolved much since the beginning of time. It's there because it's like, look, I guarantee you somewhere in your DNA is a part of you. There's a part of you that's still listening out for a dinosaur or Tyrannosaurus Rex or whatever it is. It could be a lion, a tiger, a bear. Oh my, whatever it is. Not today. I am not going to be eaten today. Not today, right? And you don't even realize it's there. But once it pushes you outside of your comfort zone, that it's called your fight or flight response. That fight or flight response is going to either be fear or it's going to be anger. And that's what I was saying before, is that first emotion that opens that box of those micro expressions. It's really a box of emotions, a box of thoughts, extremely fast subconscious evaluations that you didn't even realize were running. In computer terms, a subroutine. That's a program that's running behind the scenes. You don't even realize it's there, but it's operating until it's revealed. And now suddenly you go from your comfort zone and you realize, oh my God, I got a fear zone, or I've got an anger zone, or call it an issue zone. That's where all those issues come up. You didn't know you had mama, daddy issues till you get out of your comfort zone. And now you get into that fear zone. Well, once you deal with the fear zone, now you move into that knowledge zone where you want to learn from what you went through. And I remember spending years, decades, in fact, in this knowledge zone where I was just learning about myself and business and personal development and studying the Bible and just learning knowledge, studying, learning knowledge, studying. But guess what happened? That eventually became my comfort zone. See, the fear zone can actually become your comfort zone because you can make your bed right there in the middle of fear. There's a lot of stuff to fear, but somehow you become comfortable with it. You know you're in an abusive relationship. You know that the worst thing that you could have ever had anybody to say was that you can't go to work, and now you and your spouse are in the house at the same time. And Lord Jesus, now that's when it gets ugly because the the you were able to avoid setting him off or setting her off or going at each other because for the most part you all did not say the words or do the things or whatever the case is. You had become comfortable, even though you know that the greatest fear that either one of you have is that, man, we can fight. When we fight like Ike and Tina Turner. Yeah. And you go, but we're comfortable with each other because we never bring those things up. So as long as we don't talk about money, we don't fight. As long as we don't talk about our intimacy, sexual relationships, we don't fight. as long as we don't bring up that affair that he had or she had 5 years ago, we're in our comfort zone. But you're still, it's comfortable, but you're still living, you're in the fear zone. You just have made the fear zone your comfort zone. And you can get into that knowledge zone and make knowledge your comfort zone and never move out of there because you fear change. So now you just sort of move the comfort zone along and say, okay, I'm gonna make this comfortable and I'm gonna stay right here. But when you move past your knowledge zone and into the next zone, that's when you get into the growth. And I remember moving into that growth zone and I remember growing. But the problem was when I moved into the growth zone, I also brought the failings in the knowledge zone. There were certain things that I didn't know. There were certain things I learned the tough lesson. And ooh, I wish I had learned that back when I was in the knowledge zone, but I didn't learn it in the knowledge zone. I learned it in the growth zone. And it was a little bit more painful, cost me some money, wasted some time, certainly created some emotional distress. And along in my growth zone, my stuff that I didn't take care of in the fear zone that came over too. And then, of course, along comes the comfort zone and my need to keep everything normal. And my comfort zone showed up in the fact that I should have been doing this right that I'm doing right now with these courses online. I should have been doing this 10 years ago. But I was comfortable doing the live consultations. I was comfortable working one-on-one. I was comfortable every now and then posting something, and but I was not in my true growth zone where I could grow and get better, and more people would know my name, more people would know my brand, more people would be able to say, well, this guy kind of knows his stuff. Well, that should have happened 10, 15 years ago, were it not for the fact that I brought to the growth zone what knowledge I had, also brought what fears I had, and I also brought my ability to make myself comfortable. So I have to, the key to get away from this is to get out of these zones completely. And that's when they say out of the box thinking, that's that space that's on the outside. That's where the greatness zone is. Now, what does the greatness zone look like? You're not technically, the outside of that box is not the greatness zone, but it's where you now can begin to position yourself and prepare for greatness. So that's where my coaching, Get Ready for Greatness, comes from. It's for those that find themselves totally out of the box, out of the comfort zone, out of the fear zone, you're out of the knowledge zone, and you're out of the growth zone. Now you're ready, or you're in a position to get ready for greatness. So what does greatness look like? So greatness begins with you knowing what you are good at. What are you good at? What is it that you can do better, and you can do with your eyes closed, hands tied behind your back? You can do this. That's the beginning of it. The next one is to find that intersection between what you're good at and what you love to do. If those two can come together where there is a cross section, man, that space right there where those two connect, that's a wonderful place to be in. But what happens is oftentimes what you're good at and what you love to do are not crossing over. They don't come together. You're just working that job to pay the bills, and what you would love to do maybe is be a nature photographer, but you're working as a security guard, at a warehouse, because they're paying you enough to pay your bills. And now, while you're driving around on the golf cart around the property and that warehouse, you're thinking, man, if one of these days I'm going to be away from here. But until then, you're not doing what you love to do. But what you're good at, photography, is actually what you love to do. And now you start that business as a photographer, man, you are on your way to finding your greatness zone. That third one, though, is what does success look like? Now, oftentimes you can take what you're good at and what you love to do, but it doesn't make you any money. And if success has anything to do with money, now you've got a new issue. You either have to find a way to monetize what you're good at and what you love to do, or you're going to have to change one or maybe even both of them. But sometimes just changing one, what you love to do or what you're good at, just changing one of them will position you to be able to shape the success that you want. So, and I like to take it to two different levels, not just how much money I want to make. Think about what you will do with the money. Take it to the next step. Buy a house, own a car, go back to school, put the kids through school, leave some money to my grandkids. Whenever you're thinking about success, make those images. Let it be pictures and images. And by the way, whenever you do a vision board, I'm going to say this to each one of you, to everyone that if you when you come across this is so important. Never create a mental image of what you want without inserting yourself into that image. Let me say that again. Never create a mental image of what you want without inserting yourself into that image. So it's like if you take a picture of a mansion and you put it on the wall and you say, "This is the mansion that I want." And you're looking up there at that mansion, subconsciously, your spirit, your mind, everything is saying, the law of attraction is saying, "I will bring you that mansion. I will bring that mansion. I will bring that mansion." Next thing you know, the mansion appears and you are in the mansion, the very mansion that you dreamed about. But you're in the mansion as the housekeeper, working, 40 hours a week cleaning somebody's toilets because you didn't make it clear that you want to own the mansion. Send that picture very clear. So, how do you get the clearest picture to your subconscious self, the part of you that will deliver to you and attract to you the very thing that you need? Your feelings. Now we're talking about feelings. When we get into this level where you move beyond your physical sensations, beyond sight, sound, hearing, taste, and touch, where you have no physical presence in this greatness zone. There's no physical emotional sensations, no sensory nerves that are firing off here. In your greatness zone, this is all spiritual, purely spiritual. In fact, this is where you recognize that you are not a physical body with a spirit on the inside. You're actually a spiritual being wrapped in a physical body. And if you were to drop that physical body, you could shine and be everything that you were destined to be. And that's what the greatness zone is. It's when you have that, you find that intersection right there in the middle, what you're good at, what you love to do, and knowing what success looks like, then turning that from a visual image to a sensory image in a sense of I can feel it in my spirit. Then you ask this question, what would that feel like? And I'm going to share this with you. This is the most powerful prayer that I've ever could have learned to pray. And it's if you were to take your affirmations, and I am abundantly wealthy. One of my good friends, she says, I am a highly successful, well-adjusted billionaire. Okay, so I am a highly successful. Let's take that affirmation. I am a highly successful, well-adjusted billionaire. And you guys do affirmations. You do affirmations, and you say these things all day long. I am a highly successful, well-adjusted billionaire. Well, what does that mean? They're just words if you don't have an image to go with it. Okay, so you now begin to visualize yourself as a highly successful, well-adjusted billionaire. But that still isn't enough. What you have to do is bring the feeling into the picture. What would it feel like? And so this is how I've learned to pray. What would it feel like if? Say those 6 words. What would it feel like if? And then insert the affirmation as you meditate. Man, you want to talk about something spectacular? Just watch what happens. Give it 21 days of doing that, and you can call me up and tell me the success that you're experiencing. What would it feel like if I am a well-adjusted billionaire? What would it feel like if in all my business ventures I am successful? What would it feel like if my life, my children, my family are abundantly happy? What would it feel like if? You keep asking yourself, what would it feel like if? And then feeling that, bringing that picture into yourself. Man, now you have created, you've given your spirit within something to work with. Now it can go and make that thing happen. So I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me for that section. Let's go over to the next section so that we can finish. I kind of want to cross over here and continue by, I'm going to talk about the 5-stage marketing process because I at least want to touch on two things within the business component. So we've got this 5-stage marketing process. And as a part of the marketing process, it looks like this. You want to get what's called top of mind awareness, or TOMA, TOMA, top of mind awareness. So at the first level in the 5-stage marketing process, your prospect doesn't know anything about you. So you are in the unknown stage in their existence. If this was a marketing funnel, in that first funnel, you have to deal with the fact that they've never heard of you before. Now, chances are, because of analytics, Google Analytics and Facebook Analytics, you probably know far more about them than they know about you. But if you remember in one of my earlier sessions, I told you that marketing is a process, right? But it's also an exchange of information. You tell them something about you, they tell you something about them. The more you learn about them, the more you can customize your offering to benefit them. The more they learn about you, the more likely they are to think about you when it's time to make a buying decision. But when you're at that first stage, the last thing you need to be trying to do is sell them, close them. It's a waste of time. I can't tell you how many times I get someone's beautiful, wonderful business card, or I'll go to a show and I'll get a coffee mug with their logo on it. It's a beautiful coffee mug. And I take this coffee mug and and use this coffee mug, and it has their logo on it. With this coffee mug and their logo on the coffee mug, I get up the next morning, I grab that coffee mug, I pour coffee in it. I'm sitting there at my desk getting ready to start my day, and I'm sipping that coffee, and I am thinking while I'm drinking out of the cup that they gave me, wow, Maxwell House, good to the last drop. Folgers in your cup. I'm not thinking about their business because they've not made a connection to me. I just have a great looking coffee mug. But if all I got from them was a sheet of paper with their name on it, I hear their name, and then the next time I hear their name, I'll remember it because I heard it somewhere before. And I saw their name came to mind. So once I know their name, I've now become aware of them. Now you can begin the awareness stage. Now you can start making me aware of you. Now you can start having your ad pop up on my Facebook feed and my YouTube and this, because there's been some connection. See, if I say to the customer, I'll, like for instance, I'll offer my 7-stage consulting process. So once that person downloads my 7-stage consulting process, now I can begin to put ads on their Facebook feed. Now I can put ads in front of them. They're not going to buy my product, but at the very least, they're aware of me now. Why? Because there's been some connection in the past. I am no longer unknown. I've moved up to the awareness stage. And there are plenty of companies that help. You've heard this before, an awareness campaign, or usually it's called branding, when you're just putting your name out there so people will become aware of your name. The next phase after they become aware is to move up to comprehension. Now, this is the part that I love. I love these because you hear these comprehension commercials all the time. You hear, it used to say back in the day, look for our ad in this Sunday's newspaper, or read and follow label directions carefully to avoid skin damage, hair breakage, eye injury. What the companies are telling you is, I've only got 30 seconds in this commercial, but I'm going to send you somewhere else to go get comprehension. So that you can comprehend a little bit more. Go to our website, read our details, ask for our brochure, see dealer for details. You've heard those ads before. Here's my favorite one. Ask your doctor. Yeah, all of those are comprehension level ads that are sending you somewhere to get more comprehension of something that of which you're already aware. So you're already aware of the company, you're already aware of the product, but awareness is not enough to close the deal. I've got to give you comprehension that you can understand what it does, understand the side effects, understand how it works, understand it. Once you get a better understanding, better comprehension, I have now moved you up the ladder a little bit more. This is what my marketing efforts are supposed to be doing. Now I got to get past the convince stage. You see, you're a consumer, but I haven't turned you into a customer. Remember, I've just determined that as a consumer, and yes, if you look at day 6 and 7, I talked a lot about this process. So, but I won't spend too much time on it today. But the bottom line is, you begin with a community. So everybody is in your community. But is everybody in the community a consumer? The example that I use is you sell those hamburger patties that's made out of a plant-based hamburger patty. So you open up a store and you're selling plant-based sandwiches, that kind of stuff. Well, everybody in your community can be aware of you, but not everybody in your community is a consumer of plant-based sandwiches. But once you identify the consumers within the community, then the rest of the community can be left alone and you're going to target now the consumers. But if they are consumers of your product, chances are they're not sitting around waiting for you to show up in the marketplace. I guarantee you that anytime you show up in the marketplace, I don't care if the invention has never been done. If I'll just use scraping ice off the window of your car. You can have the best ice scraper there is, but I guarantee you right now, if you come to the marketplace, people are already scraping ice off their windshield with something. So those are the consumers. That means these consumers are already getting their fix on somewhere, and it's not from you. So it's not until just having consumers is not enough. Now you've got to turn those consumers into customers. And what's the difference between a consumer and a customer? The consumer is the person who is in the market. They use the product that you sell, but the customer is the one who has decided to come to you to get it. So when the customer comes to you to get it, now that consumer has changed to a customer. But here's the key. The customer, they're only a customer until their moment of consumption is done. Once they have consumed or purchased or got what they want and they walk out the door, they go back to being a consumer and they are no longer your customer until you get them back. And this is where a whole bunch of business has been made in tracking customers. Uber, I think they had to stop it, but Uber used to track the customers' phones once they got out of the car, and they would say, well, this person took an Uber, and when they got out of the car, the first place they went was to the beauty salon or to the library or to the gas station or to the whatever. And they took the analytics of that, and they were able to say, look, 65% of all Uber customers take the first place that they go after they get out of the car. And I'm just making this up, but the first place they go after they get out of the car is to a coffee shop. So you, Mr. Coffee Shop owner, would benefit tremendously by advertising on our Uber app. That makes sense. You know where the customer is going. You have information on that customer. You can give them directions, but you still have to convince them to come into your store to do business with you. Now, here's where the challenge is. There are people who try to convince the customer to do business with them at this level. And I've seen this happen a lot online because Les Brown is a very convincing person. If Les Brown says something, baby, you better believe it's true, because Les has been responsible for a whole bunch of stuff as it relates to the motivational speaking industry. Les Brown, I think, could truly earn the title of the godfather of motivation. That's Les Brown. So if Les Brown says it, oh my God, it's got to be real. But I can't tell you how many people that I've seen that I don't know from, I say Cuda Brown. I don't know him, but they're sitting right there next to Les Brown, and Les got their book and and Les is smiling, that patented Les Brown smile, and standing next to Les is some unknown dude. But what is he trying to do? He's unknown, but he's trying to convince you by standing next to Les Brown. That's a big leap, especially when has to leap past unknown, aware, and comprehend. I'm not aware of you. I don't comprehend who you are, what you do, but you want to convince me just because you're standing next to Les Brown? Or you're a car dealer, a brand new car dealer, and you get an NFL football player to come to your store, and he's come to the store. The quarterback of the NFL quarterback, the number one team is going to be at my store. Come on to my store. Well, I'm going to come to your store, but why am I going to come to your store? I'm going to come to your store to meet that football player. I'm not going to come to your store to buy the sandwich. So, but once you actually get to this stage, you have convinced me. Now I'm ready to act. Guess what? I am not going to act until I have TOMA, top of mind awareness, because this is how it works. I'm driving down the street. I'm headed home. My wife says, baby, she calls up and says, baby, I'm not going to fix dinner tonight. Why don't you pick up something on the way home? And 30 minutes later, I walk through the door with food from Panda Express. Now, why do I have Panda Express? Because that was at the top of my mind when the opportunity to make the decision. That's when I was ready to act. That's who I was thinking about. Now you understand why you will never go a day without seeing a McDonald's ad or a Burger King ad. These companies have been struggling, spent billions of dollars to be at the top of your mind. And they know that if they could go 21 days without running an ad, you would totally forget about them. Literally, you don't believe it, but I tell you what, if every McDonald's was to disappear off the face of the earth, in 21 days, you'd start forgetting what used to be in that location. Within 3 months, 6 months, within a year and a half, you'd be talking about, man, there was a company right there that I can't remember. What was the name of that company? Golly, what was it? It was, it had the one with the golden arches. What was McDonald's? That's what it was. Yeah. And McDonald's has been around for a minute. But I guarantee you, the moment they slip from that top of mind awareness, the moment they stop running those ads and you're not there, you won't even think of them when it's time to consume a burger. So that's why McDonald's does all these ads. That's why the advertisers are advertising the way that they're advertising, because they understand this marketing process. They've spent a lot of money getting to the top of your mind. Now that they're there, they're going to stay there. So once you're ready to act, now you're not going to act. Your customer is not going to act until you have fully developed TOMA, top of mind awareness. So with that, I want to jump over and finish this segment because I want to talk about and wrap up with the seven, what we're focusing in on this week. And it's the 7 steps to overcoming adversity. Shakespeare says some people are born great, some people become great, some people have greatness thrust upon them. I'm saying this, no matter how that greatness comes upon you, just know that you got to get ready for greatness. Now, this course, as I've always emphasized, is going to help you understand the significance of balancing quality relationships with an effective use of time. You'll also learn how to manage physical and spiritual resources in order to reach your goals and achieve greatness. So let's talk about 2 things today in this Get Ready for Greatness component: setting goals that matter and overcoming adversity, building character. So the first one is your ultimate goal. We're going to talk about how to set goals that matter, the importance of having an ultimate goal, and 3 benchmarks to success. Now, this comes from this Bible verse right here. I love the fact that there's so much wisdom hidden in plain sight right there in the Bible. But this one verse right here, 1 Thessalonians 4:11 and 12 says it perfectly. Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, to mind your own business, and to work with your hands, just as we told you, so that your daily life may win the respect of outsiders, and so that you will not be dependent on anybody. Man, if that's not powerful, what does that look like? And what is it saying? That your ultimate goal should be to win the respect of outsiders and to be self-sufficient. If that was the goal of your family, the goal of your community, it would change the way that you are approaching politics, the way that you're looking at asking your church, your leaders, all those, everybody would change if that was the case that you if you did. Let me pause my video for just a second here. So if you made your ultimate goal to win the respect of outsiders and to be self-sufficient, then what the next thing that we're going to be talking about here is that you should be using these 3 benchmarks to help you reach your ultimate goal. And it was stated in that verse earlier. Number 1, lead a quiet life. Number 2, mind your own business. And number 3, work with your hands. And when you're talking about working, especially as a small business, that's the easiest time to do it. Then once you begin to build on this self-sufficiency that you have and the respect that you're building, you can find that as the days go on, the more you operate business, people will begin to respect you more and more. And you'll be so far away from the ability to lead a quiet life, because eventually your success will bring attention as the greatness and your talents, your gifts will make room for you. And so you'll find yourself in places that maybe you never thought you would go. But you got there. You reached that goal by beginning with these 3: lead a quiet life, mind your own business, and work with your hands. So I hope that helps you. I want to go into the second part of that, and this is the 7 steps to overcoming adversity. But I'm only going to go into step 1 because the next 7 days, we're going to go through all 7 of them for this week. So we're going to talk about the meaning of character, get a better understanding of extreme adversity, and how to make the best of your bad situation. And then most importantly, we're going to end with turning your scars into trophies. So let's talk about step 1. Remember that adversity builds character. And character is defined as a description. It's descriptions of a person's attributes, traits, or their abilities. But one of the best definitions is it's a combination that distinguishes it's a combination of distinguishing qualities and features. That's your character. But this is the best one, I think. It's you at your best and at your worst in any given situation. Your best and your worst, when it all comes out of you. And this is where we're talking about with being squeezed. And why I like to say that an olive represents purity in the Bible, because when you cut an olive, nothing comes out. The only way to get oil from an olive is to crush it. And when you crush that olive, nothing but pure oil comes out. But what happens when you get crushed? What comes out of you? Complaining, cussing, bitterness, fear, anger? Yeah, that's what adversity is doing. It's squeezing you and showing you what you are made of. So let's talk about adversity, because adversity is described as a state of hardship or affliction, misfortune. What we're going through right now would certainly be considered adversity. It's a calamitous event, coronavirus showing up, hurricane, tornado, earthquake. That's adversity. But this is extreme adversity. You know that you're under extreme adversity when adversity appears suddenly. Just from out of nowhere, you're going through it. Then it takes you outside of that comfort zone we talked about earlier. And once it appears suddenly and takes you outside of your comfort zone, it's got your attention, but it's not extreme yet. And that's what happened with you think about it. Before you know it, we were facing a pandemic, but we were denying it. Well, it's not as bad. I heard people talking about, well, it's the flu killed 70,000 people, and we didn't shut the whole nation down because of the flu. Well, no, but the flu wasn't as contagious, and the flu didn't get to a point to where it was continually taking out more and more people every day. So when people were talking about the flu compared to the coronavirus, there were 3 deaths in this country. We've now crossed the threshold of 11,000 deaths, and 2,000 people a day are dying. And the best we can do is hope to flatten the curve. I got a feeling now coronavirus has got your attention. It has appeared upon you suddenly and it's taken you outside of your comfort zone. But that still is not extreme adversity. You know it's extreme adversity when it renders all your current resources useless. Yeah, Now that's what happened. Stock market blew away, gone. Jobs gone, resources gone, all of it gone. But even at that, we could still recover because we did that back in 2008. But see, what happened was it didn't go to the next stage where it challenged all 9 character traits of OQP. And that's what I want to talk about today. See, what's happening now is you're beginning to see in our leaders that, and you would not have seen it if the adversity had not become this extreme. What happens is they're a great leader because they handled that situation well. Under these circumstances, they were this, under business, under the light of business. So over here in the academics, as a lawyer, he was great. But nobody has ever had to lead through a pandemic. And now it challenges all the characteristics that you have. And so what's in what's in the character of our leaders is beginning to come to the surface. It was there the whole time. You saw hints of it from day one, but it has never been squeezed out on a daily basis in the evening news every day. Now you're beginning to see, oh my God, not only is that what's in them, what is it that's in me? So on the physical level, you have the 9 characteristics. This is more spiritual also, but the physical: fear God, love the truth, hate covetousness. Okay, that's a healthy, reverent, respectful fear, not a trembling, scared, you're gonna hit me in the butt with a lightning bolt kind of fear. Okay, but those are the first 3. The second one is dependable, loyal, and capable. So now you've got 6 of these characteristics, but the next 3 that takes it to the final level is positive mental attitude, willing to go the extra mile, and faith. When someone possesses all 9 of those characteristics, they are OQP, but you yourself should strive to be OQP. Adversity is going to show up, and it's going to show that you are not strong in one of those 9 areas. You're not as dependable as you thought you were. You don't love God as much as you thought you did. You don't have as much faith as you thought. Adversity came up and showed you that. So there are the 9 characteristics of OQP: fear God, love the truth, hate covetousness. You're dependable, loyal, and capable. Positive mental attitude, willing to go the extra mile, and faith. Guys, I want to say it's been a pleasure. I've been hanging out with you. I think I went a little bit over my appointed time, but I wanted to make certain to get all of this information in. You're going to be able to find this Lunch and Learn workshop over at richardcuff.com. It'll be there. You'll see it under day 8 for the Get Ready for Greatness Lunch and Learn workshops. Also, go to getreadyforgreatness.com, create your free coaching profile, take advantage of the $49 21-day PS Factor 21 Days to Greatness coaching training, because what that's going to do is give me an opportunity to work with you pretty much individually and make resources available to you that will help you go through this. Because what happens is once a week out, you get a coaching call to answer any questions or anything that you may have come across in the week that we've been working together. So as you continue to do that, working on these 9 traits of OQP, tomorrow we're going to talk about step number 2 to overcoming adversity, and that's to find the courage within. So it's always a pleasure doing these workshops, and I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. So be sure to also log on to the PS Factor to check out the PS Factor podcast. You can also support the podcast there, richardcuff.com. As I mentioned, you're going to be able to see all the videos that on the YouTube page. And be sure to like the Get Ready for Greatness page so that you can get alerts. And so all of the videos that I do that are the lives, if you're watching this live on Facebook right now, I'm going to have the replay over on Get Ready for Greatness. And then I'll actually post it on my personal page as well, but you'll be able to get it there. So all of these are coming together. Be sure to check me out tomorrow morning for my morning commute. I try to do it between 8 o'clock and 8:15. Not every time do I leave the house, because sometimes I have a really late night, which means I don't leave as early as I plan. But the schedule is beginning to calm down and slow down a little bit. So with that, guys, that's what I have today. If you have any questions, be sure to hit me up, message me through Facebook, or if you want to schedule uh, a conversation, a coaching call, just go to the Get Ready for Greatness and Get Ready for Greatness Facebook page, and you'll see where you can book a call now, or book a session, I think is what the button says. But just click that, choose the time, and I'll confirm and look forward to talking with you. So that takes care of our Lunch and Learn workshop for today. So till tomorrow, take care, and I will see you tomorrow morning on my morning commute. Talk to you later.